Hi everyone, I'm Nicole STEM xstitch. Today is Sunday, March 12th, 2023, and this is Flosstube number 9. As of today, I have stitched 162,880 stitches since I started stitching in 2020, and I have stitched 1,665 stitches since my last video. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll hop right into my progress from the last week. So I don't have any new finishes or new fully finishes. I also don't have any new starts, but I did make some good progress on a pattern called Ocean Wave. I call it Ocean Wave 341 because the designer, ZephyrMood, has a few patterns that look similar. But here's a look at what this looks like. It's an aerial view of an ocean wave, and it's a full coverage piece. And then I'll also show you real quick what it looked like last time when I had barely started it. It was just this little baby start here, and this week I am this far. So I have made a significant amount of progress, though I think if I just showed this to you, you probably still wouldn't be able to tell that it was supposed to be an ocean wave viewed from above, which is totally fine. But so far, I have completed 1,496 stitches on this piece. I'm doing it on 18 count white Aida that I got from Michaels. I'm doing it with a called for DMC 2/2 full cross, and I'll give you a closer look at that again. I really like the dense coverage of 2 strands on 18 count. It's my go-to for full coverage, or if I want the piece to be smaller, I would probably do 1/1 full cross on 28 count or 2/1 full cross, 2/1 half cross on either 25 or 28. So those are my preferences. I started this piece on March 1st, 2023, and I have gotten to about 15.69% at this point. I'm working on this month because it is one of my WIPGO goals, to get to 33% complete. So I think I'm doing pretty good on that progress so far. I'm about halfway to my goal, and we're a little under halfway to the end of the month, so I'm pretty happy with that one. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this piece. I've been stitching on it a lot on the bus, and then occasionally in the evenings as well. Oh, and since I started it on March 1st, I have stitched on it on 10 different days. So that's Ocean Wave 341. You can expect to see this one again next week, and hopefully you can see it a third of the way done by the end of March. The other piece that I worked on a little bit is called Elegant Lace. Let me pull that picture up. If you did notice, or if you can tell, I'm trying to figure out OBS. So you can see me trying to insert the pictures in real time instead of adding them after. Let me know how it's working and how you feel about it, and also if you know how to preload a bunch of images so that I'm not like switching back and forth and moving them around and making it look really awkward, that would be great. I'm not a pro at it yet, but I think it will save me a lot of time in editing, so I figured I'd just try it out today, and if it's not perfect, that's okay. At least we'll get the point across. So anyway, this next whip is called Elegant Lace. It's by WorksbyABC. It's a really neat pattern because it uses a combination of full cross and half stitch to create this kind of lace effect. And so if you see the more densely filled in areas are full cross, and the kind of like shaded areas are half cross. It also uses DMC Floche, which is it's different than the normal 6-stranded DMC cottons. It is a little bit thicker. It kind of gives the effect of like 1.5 to 2 strands of DMC, but in a single strand. It uses that for the full cross, and then a single strand of the normal 6-stranded DMC for the half crosses. So it's kind of a neat pattern. And here is where I was when I showed it to you last week. So I was about 50% last week, which was my previous WIPGO goal for this project. And now I am here. Let's see if I can get them both at the same time. Yeah. So not a ton of progress, but you can see that I've started to fill in this bottom section of the border, finished up this rose, and added in this small rose. And that puts me at, hold it on this side, that puts me at 52.22% complete, which is 10,114 stitches if you count the half crosses, the same as full crosses. I'm doing this on a beautiful Zweigart linen called Sahara. It's like this mustardy yellow color. I love it so much. It's 36 count, and I'm doing it over 2 with the DMC floche and the normal 6-stranded DMC in B5200, the like really nice vibrant white color. I started this one in 2022. I don't have an exact start date written down, unfortunately. I wasn't tracking that at the time that I started this piece. And I have only worked on this one for 2 days since I picked it up this month. So that stitching that I was showing you that I did since last time was done in 2 days. This is also a WIPGO call for me this month, and my goal is to get to 75%, and like I said, I'm only at 52, so I have a lot of work to do on this one. I'm hoping to get some serious stitching done on it tonight, but we'll see, and to focus on it a little bit more over the next couple weeks to see if I can hit that goal. If I don't make it, that's totally fine. I'll probably just try to hit it before it gets called again and call it a late completion. But that is Elegant Lace. It's a gorgeous pattern. I love the yellow and white, and I'm hoping to finish it this year since it's on my WIPGO board twice, which should get me to 100% completion. Awesome, so that is all of my WIP progress for this week. Like I said, my plans are pretty similar to last week. I want to hit these WIPGO goals, so I'll be continuing to work on Ocean Wave and Elegant Lace. If I find the time, I'll also be picking up the piece that my friend Allie commissioned me to make for her, which is a Luna Moth. I showed that one last week, and we'll see how that goes. So I'll be showing you these 2 pieces again next week in my next video. I don't have any purchases from last week, but I am planning to make a trip to Michael's tonight. I have a couple floss colors that I'm out of that I need for the Ocean Wave piece. I just ran out of one of them. So I wanted to pick up those. I also have a $5 Michael's voucher. If you're a Michael's person, which is 100% my preference for all of the basic cross-stitching supplies, is Michael's 100% all the way if you have one near you. They have great deals. They almost always have a 20% off coupon, and if you join their rewards program, you can earn basically free vouchers by spending money. So you earn something anywhere from 1 to 6% cash towards these vouchers when you spend money at Michael's. And then once you get to $5, they basically give you that voucher and say in the next month you can use this, and it's literally free money. If you go and you buy $5 of stuff and you use your voucher, you're paying $0. There's no minimum. It's not $5 off 15 or anything like that. I love the vouchers. I use them to help me build up to getting the complete DMC floss set, and it's always nice to earn a voucher, or sometimes they like give out a free voucher or something like that, because it means I can go pick up some supplies that I might want to like keep stocked, like extra fabric and stuff like that. So this time I'll probably mostly grabbing a couple colors of floss that I've run out of, maybe a couple backup hoops, nothing too crazy, but I always like a good visit to Michael's, and I think my housemates might also need some craft supplies, so maybe we'll be able to make that trip together. That is all for purchases, so I will move on to our special segment for this week and send you over to my computer screen so that you can see all of the patterns that are on my wish list to purchase and stitch in the future. Alrighty, so here we are at my Etsy favorites page, and this is probably going to be a bit of a longer segment. Last week I showed you the patterns that I already own but haven't stitched yet, and there were a good number there, but there are far, far more that I would love to stitch that I have not purchased. But nevertheless, all of these I think are gorgeous, and I cannot wait to buy and start them all. I like only can hope that I will be able to stitch them all in my lifetime, but who knows. So let's just hop right in. I have some of these categorized into different lists, but I haven't completely categorized all of them, so these are some of the ones that I have not categorized. There's this beautiful whale pattern from Mama Witch Cross Stitch, some of the Rosewood Manor seasonal Quakers. I'm not really a big Quaker person, or like necessarily a traditional cross stitcher. In that sense, I don't do a lot of samplers or anything like that, but the colors in these ones really spoke to me, and I think the motifs are really beautiful, so these are definitely some more traditional type cross stitch designs that I might consider doing in the future. I had somebody comment on my page, or on one of my old videos, that asking if I had seen Satsuma Street patterns, and I definitely have seen them. They're gorgeous, they're very vibrant, and these little cities I think are so cute. That comment specifically said, have you seen Satsuma Street's Pretty Little Seattle pattern? I think it will be perfect for you, and I agree. I think this pattern is so stinking cute, and I definitely will be stitching it. I just don't know when. I also really like this pattern. I'm kind of a sucker for any pattern that has a lot of like beautiful yellows in it, because yellow is currently my favorite color. Then we have these seasonal mountain patterns. They're a little bit funny, but I think they're kind of fun. I kind of like these like seasonal like groups of patterns where you can kind of like stitch them and then display them all together. I'm not sure, like these aren't top of my list to do, but I think they're fun and cute, and maybe one day I'll do them. And then a couple patterns from Filigram. I don't have a lot of like house patterns, but I really liked this little house that kind of drew me to this one. And then this pattern from Heart and Hand. It's like, it's part of a series that they're doing with all of these like tiny towns that have different themes. This one in particular has, you know, these like blue and white houses, and then again, yellow flowers, sunflowers, love sunflowers, and like a beehive, also love bees. So this I definitely will be stitching possibly sooner rather than later, because it's such a cute pattern. The other tiny towns didn't necessarily call me as much as this one did, and I think this one was just released at market this past weekend. I could be wrong about that, but definitely will be stitching that. And then I have a couple patterns from, oh geez, I'm not going to be able to remember who this is from. Let's just click on it and find out. How about that? Oh, it's out of stock anyway. Anyway, this is called Huckleberry Farm. Forgive me for not remembering the name of the designer. it's a gorgeous pattern. I don't do many alphabets or anything, but I think the butterfly in particular and this like gorgeous border and the colors really spoke to me. So I may or may not do this like soon, and if I do it eventually, I might make some changes to the pattern itself. But I feel like this is at least, it speaks to me in some way, and so I like to keep those, even those patterns around, just so that they can kind of like pique my inspiration. And then this really cute little ermine. He's got a little mushroom and just this like gorgeous border. I love this one so much. Oh, every time I look at my favorites, I'm like, how am I gonna choose what I want to stitch next? I think this one is so stinking cute. It would look so cute in a little square frame. We have a couple ink circles patterns. This one, I really like the colors in it. And then this one I think would look really gorgeous in like a really nice variegated floss. So I have those two saved. And then a couple patterns from the Stitch Patterns. I actually do already own these, but they're bigger floral patterns. They're bigger than the little mini art patterns that I've shown before. I think those are pretty. Let's see what else is on here. I honestly forget about things sometimes too. Oh, thought this was interesting. Not sure if I'll do it since I'm already doing so many mini art pieces, but it's, you know, a kind of like modern art take on Girl with the Pearl Earring in a like pixel art style. I think it's kind of fun to do like this over exaggerated pixel art style in cross stitch, which is already kind of like pixel art, but then, you know, make it even blockier. So I thought that was neat. I have a few really pretty bookshelf patterns. I found these kind of all on the same day. Fell down a rabbit hole of looking at bookshelf patterns, and I don't know how I'm going to pick between these, so maybe we'll have more than one, who knows. And then Sprouting Lupine is a new designer that I have come upon lately that has some kind of Quaker-esque designs, sampler designs, but they're very like nature centered, and I think they're really beautiful. So I really like these koi. I think she has another one that has like mushrooms that I really like as well. I'm imagining it's on this wish list somewhere. And then this one from Stitchy Princess also gives me similar vibes to the Koi Pond one. I have a couple William Morris art turned into cross stitch patterns, like Strawberry Birds, I think is what this one is usually called. I think they're really like interesting. Oops, didn't mean to click on that one. I think they're really interesting. They're not at the top of my list to stitch, but I really like them. So again, I like to keep things like that around. A bunch of different floral options. Again, just like the style of them. I have a couple of patterns from Pigeon Coop Designs. I've actually stitched one of Pigeon Coop Designs patterns before, but I like these kind of like takes on scenic views that aren't necessarily like realistic, but have like cool patterns worked into them. I really like that. Same with these from Lumi Lua shop. I love the like sunrise like and sunset with the patterns worked into that, and the tiny houses are so cute, and again lots of yellow, so can't wait to stitch these. I think that they're gorgeous. I might change out the colors of the background fabric. I'm not sure to what yet though, so I'll have to think more on that. Ooh, and another ink circles pattern. I also thought the colors on this were really pretty. I'm not normally drawn to pink patterns, so I may or may not actually stitch this in pink, but it gave me like nice inspiration, and I could see a lot of other pretty color combinations there. A really simple little like fiddly fig looking plant. I think I saved that one because I thought maybe my sister or someone would like it. A few more from Pigeon Coop Designs, a couple from Tiny Modernist that I think are cute, specifically, of course, the yellow one. I have to call out the yellow one. I'd probably only stitch that if I got this pattern. And also this embroidery pattern That kind of just looks like a very simple, like geode style, but I think would be like the type of embroidery that I enjoy doing, which is a little bit more mindless, repetitive. So it gives me the same feeling that I do when I cross stitch. Okay, so those are all of my uncategorized favorites, which is already a lot. There's like 46 patterns in this set, so this is only the beginning. Next, I'll show you all of the patterns I have saved that I think could go on my butterfly wall. A couple of these aren't necessary, so these three, this one I just think is cute on its own. This would not go on the butterfly wall, and these two also probably wouldn't either. I think the black and white is really neat, but I don't think it matches the rest of what I'm going for. So I may or may not stitch those, but I didn't want to like lose track of those patterns, so they're in my favorites list. The rest of these though, this is in the wrong category. Let me fix that. That's gonna bother me if it's in here. Okay, so the rest of these though, like these two, I think are really cool. I love all of the patterning in that one. Like it's so detailed. I don't know how big this pattern is, but I love all the detail in those wings. And then we have some like other, oh, this is also part of this black and white series. I may or may not actually stitch that one. We have some more simple butterflies here, maybe like slightly less realistic. This one and this one actually look pretty similar. Maybe I only need to stitch one of those. We'll see. That's a later decision. Some other really neat patterned ones. This one I'm not sure really fits the vibe of the rest of them, but I still kind of like it, so I'm keeping it for inspiration. I also really haven't decided how big I want this whole butterfly wall to turn out. So I might not actually stitch all of these. I'll probably, keep picking my favorites of what's left and keep stitching those first and kind of like fill up a space, and then maybe it'll be good for a while. Maybe I'll keep adding onto it more slowly over time. Who knows? Then we have, just some more different colors. There's also some moths in here. They're not all butterflies. I really like this one. I also really like this one. I tend to go for the more like realistic looking ones. It's not necessarily what I've stitched so far. I've only stitched 3 actually. 2 of them are slightly more simple, but I kind of like these more complex, like exotic looking butterflies. So anyway, these are patterns you may see in the future to fill out my butterfly wall. All right, I also have this category called Other Insects, because it turns out butterflies aren't the only insects that I'm interested in stitching. Of course, maybe unsurprisingly, considering what I've just said about yellow and bees, I have quite a few bee patterns that I've saved. I really like this realistic one, but I also really like these two with the hive in the middle, and then there's like this more Quaker type, which I think is also cute. And then I have a cute little praying mantis and a variety of beetle patterns that I thought were interesting. I'm not sure if I'll actually stitch these, but I think they could be cool together, so I don't know. Just wanted to keep them in the back of my mind as another idea. I have, let's see, what's the right way? Oh, I mentioned before, I'm a fan of mushroom patterns. I didn't know I would be so excited about mushroom patterns until I started seeing them. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many good ones. This is the one I was mentioning from Sprouting Lupine. That's like, it's like a Valentine's Day themed mushroom sampler. I'm not sure if we'll do it in pinks. Again, I'm not really a pink person, but I think the design alone is very gorgeous, and I could just switch out some of the colors and it would be really cool. I love that they worked in this like tree with the mushrooms on it, and the tree's kind of like, it fades into the background, but you can still see that really nice like patterning of the bark and stuff. Another pattern from Stitchy Princess that has kind of this Quaker-ish feel, but has like some really cute little mushrooms in it. Some more like realistic or like realistic cartoony looking mushroom pattern collections, which I think are neat. And then these really cute little ghosts in a bell jar with some mushrooms. So just a few mushroom patterns. I really want to start a lot of these, but I keep saying that about everything, so who knows when we'll actually get around to them. Okay, I also have some more patterns from Vika Space. Vika is a designer who makes these satin stitch landscapes primarily, and I love her patterns. I think they're gorgeous. I've done a few of them already. I have a couple already purchased, and these are a few of my other favorites from her. This is like almost exclusively the only type of embroidery that I enjoy doing is like these kind of satin stitch based patterns. It's kind of nice because they're a lot faster than cross stitching something that might give the same effect. And it's still nice and repetitive and like a kind of a mindless meditative stitching experience. I would highly recommend checking out Vika Space if you're a cross stitcher and you've wanted to try embroidery but you haven't yet. She's an amazing designer, and she also has a ton of like tutorial type content that could help you get started on a project like this. Okay, what else is up here? Some alternative / spooky patterns. So I don't stitch a lot of like Halloween or seasonal patterns, but these are some like spooky-ish ones that I think are neat that are kind of like not exclusively Halloween or anything like that. So we have a couple moons. A lot of these are from Night Spirit Studios, Lola Crow Cross Stitch, and yeah, basically primarily them. Night Spirit Studio has a ton of really neat patterns. If I was more into that type of like gothic, spooky style, I would probably be like stitching Night Spirit Studio day in and day out. They are also the designer who created the Unexpected Visitors pattern that I am already stitching. But I thought these mausoleums were really pretty. I liked the monotone design, and I thought like the three of them hung together would be really pretty. You can maybe see a trend through all of this is that even though I have this bookshelf behind me filled with like a bunch of random one-off patterns, I do also like to think about how I can create smaller pieces that form like kind of sets that could be hung and displayed together that would be able to fill up more wall space and kind of, I don't know, look good in a house rather than just having like a bunch of random things framed all hung next to each other. Anyway, this pomegranate is so random, but I don't know why I really liked it. So that one's there. I might just like this pattern because it's on yellow fabric. I don't know if I'll actually stitch this one. There's another like kind of mausoleum gothic type piece from Night Spirit Studios. This is only one of many of Lola Crow Cross Stitch's patterns that I think are so stinking cute. This is probably one of my favorites. They have a series of basically windows with like different colors of cats sitting on the windowsill looking out through the window to some like ridiculous scene in the background. I mentioned this before as well. Like there's Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, there's like spaceships like this, there's one that I own already which has Starry Night, just a bunch of really like wacky window scenes, and I think it's such a brilliant idea. So if you one, have a cat and need a cat pattern but don't want it to be just about the cat, or two, love funky patterns like this, definitely go check out Lola Crow Cross Stitch. Not only does she have a ton of really awesome patterns, but I find that her colors, like the colors she calls for and the shading, are incredible. So I would highly recommend that designer. I also have this cute little bat from them and this ornate little garden gate that I thought was kind of neat. Okay, so those are all the like spooky patterns that I have. And okay, I think the last category that I haven't showed you yet are all the big ones. There's far more of these than I can probably do in my lifetime, but oh well. Okay, so we have a bigger version of the William Morris Strawberry Birds. It's just so cool. I like it a lot. I also have a few of, oh, this is also kind of a William Morris pattern. Also like this one. It's a little bit more like floral, and I think it would be really gorgeous framed and hung on a wall. I might have to do one of these instead of like starting another Hade after I finish my Hade, but who knows. There's also a couple of these, actually another one down here from By the Bay Needle Art. I really think their style is neat with like funky trees. There's usually always water. I love the greens and blues that they always pick. Not sure that I'll stitch all of these, but I'm probably gonna have to pick one of them because they're gorgeous. I have two more ink circles patterns. These ones are much larger, but I think they're really cool. Again, I'm kind of into floral stuff, I guess. And then this one, I really liked the colors in it. I think that's a variegated floss. And I really like the idea of having like a monochromatic piece where you choose like one really gorgeous floss on a nice fabric and then let those colors shine through, rather than, you know, having a million. This is kind of like a completely different version, which is having a bunch of colors that look really nice together, none of which are variegated. We have, I don't know, a random pattern. I just thought this was cool, kind of like retro video game-y. Don't know if I'll actually stitch it because I think it might be a little bit boring, but I don't know. I liked it. A couple different like scenery pieces. I really like this one of the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm from like the Bay Area, Sonoma County area. I grew up in California, and I love the like toned down kind of like grayed out colors in this pattern. And I don't know, the Golden Gate Bridge is very like California landmark, at least like Bay Area landmark. So I did really like that pattern. I have Autumn Town from Autumn Lane Stitchery. I've seen a lot of people stitch this piece and I really liked it for a long time. I think the houses are what's got me on this one, and the colors are nice, so probably stitch that one sometime. I have, okay, a few down here. One, this one, again, is it just that I like it because it's yellow? Maybe. Maybe it is. Like, this one might be like extremely boring to stitch, but part of me still really wants to stitch it. I have a few like nature scenes. I don't know how much these ones speak to me, but I kind of like this one of Half Dome. And then a couple other ones that are like the modern version, kind of like simple version of landscape scenes. I think the colors in these are really pretty, and I like how they've again worked in like patterns, so it's like solid color, but it's also got some pattern in it. Again, these ones might be a little bit boring to stitch, but maybe one day I'll just do it, because why not? they're kind of cool. A few more of those kind of stylized nature cross stitch patterns, another like wallpapery looking one. Yeah, just basically more scenery. This one is from the same designer as my banana leaf full coverage. If you haven't seen that one, go back a couple of videos and I show it in the finish parade. I can also link that in the cards. And this is from the same designer. It has kind of a similar vibe. Maybe one day I'll do it and they can hang up on the wall together. Or maybe not, because maybe I don't need to spend a lot of time stitching something really similar. Who knows? And then another last William Morris one. So lots of large and full coverage options. I feel like I just showed you a million things because I did. Like I showed you over 100, maybe close to 150 patterns just now. And that's actually not all of them, because not all the patterns that I have found are on Etsy. So I have a few others that I would like to show you. Things like Hades, Barbara Anna's, Carolyn Manning's, stuff like that, Al Forrest. And let me switch you over to that now. Okay, so here are the patterns that are not on Etsy, or at least not sold directly by the designers on Etsy, that I also have on my wish list. The first is another from Ink Circles called Red's Treehouse. It's this cute little tree with a squirrel on a branch. I think this one's really cute. I like the natural tones in it. Then I have several Heaven and Earth designs. The first couple are from Andy Russell, which is the same designer or the same artist for the Heaven and Earth design that I'm currently working on called Hidden Harbor. So this one is called Eden. It has kind of the same, his patterns have kind of the same like stylized plants in all of them, which I think are fun, and a lot of gorgeous colors. This one is called Heaven's Window. And then next we have Minnie the Kiss. So based on the art piece called The Kiss. I think that this is a beautiful painting and it could be really cool as a bigger cross stitch. Not sure that this is the top of my list, but I'm interested in it. And then another series of patterns from the same artist that are all of these kind of like optical illusion crossovers of like nature and like human life, I guess. So this one is like a library, but it's also like a lake and trees. I don't know, really strange, but I think it's really neat. Here's some funky houses like over a waterfall. This one called Erosion, that's kind of like these trails, and then it looks like, you know, kind of clay, but then it's actually like brick houses. Oh, this got duplicated, sorry. And then this one with like, I don't know, some crazy like lava and water, and then these like houses perched on the edge of this hill. I think that these patterns, I don't know, they're very interesting in like, I think they're very eye-catching and they make you like want to look at the piece for longer. And I think that they could be really fun to cross stitch because I think you know, as you're stitching, you like notice more and more details. I think these patterns could really be fun to stitch. So those are the Heaven and Earth designs that I have on my list, more giant projects. I also have this cute little pattern called May I by All Through the Night. I don't really like words in most of my pieces, but I could totally fill in those little gaps with like more flowers if I didn't want the words. I also have a few from Barbara Anna that are sold by Nitka, including this Tree of Magic, which I think is really cute. Some of her Dreaming Girl patterns. I really love the colors in this one. And then also this like Woodland Dreams one. Of course, it has mushrooms and tiny yellow houses, so I love it. And her actual mushrooms pattern, which I think is really cute as well. Then we have a few from Al Forest Embroidery. Again, more mushrooms. These ones are cute. What can I say? Definitely want to stitch them. This one has more mushrooms, but also these really stinking cute little hedgehogs. And I like that it's on green fabric. It's so different. I like it. This one, which is actually a free pattern called 100 Owls. I think this pattern is super neat. It's got like such a clever little border with all these owls hidden in there. It's a really neat pattern. And then lastly from Al Forest is another little cute mushroom pattern with these toadstools that are like little people taking their hats off. It's so cute. Oh my gosh, I can't get over it. I have definitely a lot of Al Forest patterns that I would like to stitch. We have a couple long dog samplers. I've never gotten into a long dog sampler before. Most of them don't really quite like, I don't love them. There's like something or another that kind of like catches me off. But this one is an Australian / like New Zealander inspired pattern, and it has a lot of like Aussie animals like platypi, echidnas, kangaroos, stuff like that. And I really liked that aspect of the piece. Plus, like having the islands of Australia and New Zealand in there. I think this is a super cool pattern. It could be gorgeous in a variegated floss. So probably if I'm going to do a long dog ever, it will be this one. There is one other long dog sampler that probably doesn't look like a long dog sampler at all to most people. This is not like the typical style of long dogs that you'll see people stitching. Again, not a big fan of words, but this center I really like, specifically the dog. I've always loved greyhounds. I wanted to adopt like a retired racing greyhound for a really long time, planning on doing that like maybe soon or maybe sometime in the future. and I really liked this representation of the greyhound, so I'd love to stitch it. I also think it would be really cool if I did adopt a greyhound to like change the color of this dog to match whatever dog I got and make it kind of like a more sentimental and personal piece. And then the last couple here, I chose to show a couple like representative Carolyn Manning designs that I picked out. A lot of her designs are like really pretty florals. I really like them. I have a ton on my list, but I didn't want to show you all of them today, so I just picked out a couple. And then lastly, this daily walk in the woods with all these trees. I have like probably 10 more Carolyn Manning designs that I have like looked through. I've looked through her whole website and found a bunch that I like. Unlikely that I'll stitch all of them, but I like the style of some of them. So anyway, that is my cross stitch wish list. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you were super enabled, and I'll send you back to the main screen. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed getting a look at my wish list. I hope I didn't cause anybody to go on a purchasing frenzy, but if I did, sorry. But also I hope you enjoy all the beautiful new patterns that you just bought. I have a couple of life updates to share before the end of this video. One is that I just finished teaching the last day of the class that I was teaching last quarter. It was kind of a little bit sad for me because I've always really enjoyed going to teach in the middle of the day, and I really enjoyed the students that I was working with. It's not really the end because they have some final presentations that they'll be giving in April and May, so I'll see them again. It's not like completely like the last time I'll see them, but I was really enjoying teaching, and I'm looking forward to finding more teaching opportunities in the future. We also just had the recruitment weekend for the bioengineering program at University of Washington. If you're not familiar, basically the way this works is when you apply to grad schools, they either have a recruitment or like an interviewing process where you get to come and visit the actual school, and they kind of like wine and dine you for the weekend. And it's a combination of, if it's an interview and you haven't already been admitted, it's a combination of the program kind of interviewing you and seeing if you're a good fit for them, but also you getting to come and talk to students at the university and see if that is also a good fit for you. And so we had dinner with these students. They were given tours and met with a bunch of faculty, talked a lot about research. We had like a student panel where they could ask us questions about life as a UW grad student, etc., etc. So I always like to try to get a little bit involved in recruitment and see, you know, what the next cohort of graduate students in bioengineering at UW is going to look like, and try to answer any questions that they have. So that was fun. And other than that, I've just been doing so much science over the last couple weeks. I finally made some headway on a project that has been stalled out for a while. So I've been really like digging my heels in and spending a lot of time trying to sort that out. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been really busy, spending long days in lab, getting home late. So that's been a little bit exhausting lately, but also really rewarding as I kind of like move towards hopefully some answers to some problems that I've been facing for a long time. So those are my life updates. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video today. Next week, I'm not entirely sure what my special segment will look like, but I am like this close to actually getting monetized on YouTube, which is crazy. I haven't really heard many people in Flosstube, like in the Flosstube community, talk about getting monetized on YouTube, so I thought that might be something kind of like interesting to share with you all, and kind of like share my journey to getting monetized in the first place, but then also like what monetization is like after the fact. Like, how much money do Flosstubers actually make off of YouTube videos? I have no idea at this point. Haven't made any money yet. And it's really not like my main purpose for doing Flosstube, but I think it's kind of like an interesting topic to share and just be transparent about. So I might talk about that a bit in next week's video. Until then, I hope you have the best rest of your weekend that you can and the best next week that you can. And I hope to see you back here next week. Bye.